Hey guys, welcome to the channel. As you see in the thumbnail, what if Issei fall in love with Raynare part 2. Before I start, please do support for more awesome content and subscribe my channel and like this video and also share this video with your friends. I have created my other videos playlist, there you can watch my all videos easily, check out as well. Let's start this video. Things weren't always hectic inside Issei's moderately sized single-bedroom apartment, but when there was an unconscious woman with tattered clothes and body spoiled with gashes of various sizes, wounds that could only be perceived as battle wounds, likely from a sharp object such as a sword, it was a little bit hectic. What do you mean you don't have any bandages? Do I look like someone who'd have bandages? It's basic precautions. Raynare flailed her arms, spattering the rainwater everywhere over the cheap PVC wooden flooring, whisper shouting like the guy in front. What if you hurt yourself? What if you get stabbed? Bleed to death? I don't know, call a fucking ambulance. Raynare pressed a hand over her temple, glancing towards the unconscious devil that was now resting on Issei's blue-sheeted bed, currently untreated and unmoving, but breathing. Ragged, but she was breathing. Neither knew how long she would continue to breathe or if her wounds were severe. There was one gash that looked nasty and deeper than the rest of the red welts, which was also the one they were most scared to touch, and that summarized all they knew. We should disinfect it first. Do you have any rubbing alcohol? Of course you don't, what am I asking? Well, Issei rubbed the back of his neck. His wet neck. There's some vodka leftovers in the fridge. Think that could work? That'll do. I think. You sure? I don't know. It's better than nothing, right? You see those in the movies. Are we relying on Hollywood level logic now? Just get it and bring some towels. Alright. He made a mental note that not everyone appreciates attempts at diffusing tension via bad comedic timing. For the next few minutes, the two made rounds back and forth from his bedroom to his small kitchenette and his bathroom. A basin of water, a bottle of vodka, a pair of scissors, and Raynare's soaked clothes soon found their way to his bedroom floor. Issei changed in the bathroom while Raynare changed in his bedroom, borrowing one of his many red t-shirts. After a quick search on the internet, they decided to first rinse the devil's wounds with clean water first, scrubbing away any dirt with wetted tissues. Another problem arose when the two weren't sure if the devil had more injuries underneath her clothes. As much as I want to stay, I think you should do it alone. What? No. Raynare hissed. She had a plain white towel wrapped over her head. You need to be here. If she wakes up and she sees a fallen angel, who knows what she'll do? How can she tell you're a fallen angel? It's not like you're wearing a name tag saying hello, I'm Raynare, a fallen angel. Because we can tell. Just stay here, Issei. I don't care if you stare at her tits. What if I stare at yours instead? Do you want to get hit that badly? As Raynare carefully cut the devil's dress in two, folding them to her sides, revealing her mature set of white brassiere, white panties, and white garters, speckled with red by her blood, Issei said nothing. He mentioned nothing about the devil's body, actually concerned as her blood seeped into his bedsheets, staining it into dark purple color. Well, you're right. Raynare muttered, freezing. Those are gigantic. I know, right? Raynare dabbed a wet napkin over the devil's light wounds, while Issei poured his precious liquor over the deep gash with conflicted feelings. He swore to buy an actual first aid kit to prevent this sacrilegious usage of drinking alcohol that he preserved strictly for special occasions, such as his birthday, or his friend's birthday, or when they stayed over for whatever reason. After what seemed to be the most stressful moments of their life, the two managed to patch the unknown devil's belly by tearing his old PE clothes and using them as a makeshift bandage. Crimson red immediately overwhelmed its paling white color, all while the rain kept on pouring outside, giving no damn about their predicament. She's gonna have to get that one sutured. Raynare sighed, sitting against a wall directly facing his bed. I think I just lost a year of my life. Issei was sitting next to her. Equally stressed. A pillow draped over his head. The reality that he might have a dead body on top of his bed suddenly set in when he first saw her huge cut. Tell me about it. She sighed again, even more dreary this time. That was scary. Her blood just bubbled up when I was pressing her. Let's not talk about it. I'm cold, you're cold, she's probably cold, and we got blood on our hands. Don't say it like we just committed murder. We both have no medical knowledge. We might as well have. Stop that. Raynare slapped Issei's arm, frowning. That's not funny. It's fine, don't worry. He assured her. There's a shovel downstairs in the custodian closet, and I know there's a huge black trash bag too in there somewhere. I know this secluded place in the park where no one really ever visits, and Raynare cracked a smile, but hit his shoulder again nonetheless. You better stop right there. Look, all I'm saying right now is, in the off chance that things go south, I got your back. I'm your accomplice now, we're in this shit together. We could be the Japanese version of Bonnie and Clyde. Her smile fell. I'm pretty sure they die at the end. That's the American version. They like to make shit adaptations of our 2D shows, you know, Death Note live action, and the Netflix one, Dragon Ball, and pretty sure there's more. We can go off-road with this. Besides, she's a devil and no one knows about her. We could rob some minimarkets and shit. Ice, I'm starting to think you're not joking anymore," said Raynare with growing concern. "Were you so ready for a life of a fugitive you've watched too many movies?" "Yes, and that's why I'm the most knowledgeable about making up unrealistic scenarios where I'd probably end up dead within the first week. Sorta like those weebs wanting to be isekai'd, you know. You're one of them." "True, but that's not what's important here." Raynare sighed exasperatedly and decided to burrow her face into her legs. "Just shut up. I'm cold and tired. Especially tired of your shit." Issei loosened up his shoulders. His head felt light and he could sense a fever coming. "Super. Thought you'd have more experience than me handling this kind of thing, honestly." "Well, I did fight, but I never had to treat anybody," Raynare whispered, staring at the gray curtains covering the windows. "Never killed anyone either, if you're wondering." He thought for a while. "Could you?" She thought longer. "I don't know. Maybe. Yeah, I think I never had to, but if I had to, I would." Issei hummed. Raynare seemed open about it so far. He was curious, naturally, of how things were down there. He had never seen conflict in his entire life. Being a part of it and watching it from the news are two vastly different experiences. "Do you have any idea who she is and why she dresses like a maid?" "Never saw her or heard about her. Couldn't have been anyone that important, I don't think." "Likely has to do with her maid outfit," Raynare replied. "They're an aristocratic bunch of snobs who enslaved their defeated enemies to really rub it in, so it's likely she's one that escaped. Maybe the house she served fell just recently. Who knows? Can't say I really care." "Funny you, I don't care HMPH after wasting an expensive liquor to take care of her." She blushed a bit. Well, I just mean this is the neutral ground and I wouldn't have helped her if I knew who she is. She is a devil, but like, I don't know." Raynare sighed. "I don't know, Ice. I wasn't thinking this far back then." "Well, I think you did the right thing. Easy for me to say though." "Yeah." Raynare huffed, clinging to her oversized black sweepants. Issei's sweepants. "Easy for you to say, you humans have it good. Pretty sure we bitch a lot. Fight a lot. Putting blame on others is like our go-to response, and some even think the earth is flat. I won't be surprised if some people start blaming a cell reception tower if a virus outbreak ever happens. That doesn't even make sense." "Yeah, well, that's my point. Not everyone has common sense." Raynare pondered over it a little. "It's not that bad. I'd still pick this place in a heartbeat over hell." "Well, since hell is literally hell, I mean, who would pick it?" "Yeah, no shit to say." Chuckling briefly, the conversation died down, drowned by the sound of the rain. Cool air wrapped around him like a sheet of cold blanket. If somebody switched off the lights in his room, he would have dozed off in no time. This was his ideal napping weather. Granted, he had never taken a nap when there was an unconscious girl in his bedroom. Or had an unconscious girl in his bedroom, on top of his bed. "I don't think she's waking up anytime soon," he muttered, eyeing the unidentified lady. Raynare still kept her eyes closed. "You should take a shower. Or a bath." "I had hot water." Her eyes perked open. The first good news of the day. "Seriously? My place doesn't even have one. You got scammed, basically." She wrinkled her nose. "How much is the rent for this place?" 40-something thousand. 50 with utilities." "What? That's 10,000 cheaper than mine. I should have checked this place first." "Way smaller than yours though." "Indeed." Issei only needed less than 10 steps to walk from his bedroom through the small kitchenette and to his front door. There was no living room, no TV, and the only furniture he had other than the bed and a drawer for his clothes was a studying desk for his laptop and books. "Yeah, but yours gets warm water." He shrugged. He only used the gas heater when the air was cold or he had a coal to cut some expenses. "Don't go crazy with it. The bathroom's to the left. Come find me if you're lost." "Ha ha." Raynare laughed with the dryness of the Saharan desert. "You ever had a girl in your room before, Ice?" "Yes. Me or Cadis or Murayama don't count." "Not them," he replied flatly. That was a surprise. "Really? When's that?" "Today." Raynare should have figured. "Before today, you dingus." "Nope. Never had one," Issei said. No shame whatsoever, as he wasn't that much interested in the idea of dating someone for the sake of dating, and he felt comfortable enough with being single anyway. "I think it's the girls. They're conspiring against me. Screw them anyway, I don't want to get the cooties." Sure. Would you ask? Are you interested in my non-existent sex life?" Raynare snorted. "No. It's just you're chill all things considered. I visited Motohamas with Cadis the other day to study, you know, when you and Matsu didn't come even though you both said you would. Look. We both like football. Friendship is important and so are studies, but sometimes, I just want to catch balls." Not the first time she heard that innuendo. She wasn't proud of it. Anyway, he tried to play it cool, the nerd Raynare grinned, but it's so easy to tell he was freaking out. He even started to tidy his room. Which reminds me, yours is pretty tidy for a dude living alone. Contrary to popular belief, he kept his room neat and tidy. Not because he wasn't a lazy piece of shit, but because he only wanted to be a lazy piece of shit when his room was clean and free of visible mounds of used clothings. It made him feel better about himself, you know. Just in case my mom decided to make a surprise visit. Wouldn't have to hear her nag about the state of my room then. True, true. How considerate. Raynare smiled sarcastically. I didn't expect this, to be honest. You're neat and you have a cool head with, well, everything. I honestly thought you're going to get all awkward. Issei smugly smiled as he spread his hands in an extravagant gesture. What can I say? I'm a natural among the ladies. You can say it's my natural habitat to be surrounded by them. Disturbingly gross how you can say that kind of stuff with a smug face. I'm the one getting the shivers here. Raynare replied, albeit cracking a snicker and a tiny burst of giggle. Well, I won't take long. If she happens to wake up, let me know alright. And I take it as a permission for me to barge in. If you want to accidentally get a lightning bolt in your ass, sure. Some kinky shit you're into. Raynare felt like every time she talked to him, she must lose a portion of her sanity and a few brain cells. Afraid she might start to grow extra chromosomes as well, she fled the scene with a poignant, just shut up and watch her, Ice. Scream if you need me. I'll go as loud as I can, you'll think I'm a 5-year-old preschooler with pigtails. It was so naive and youthfully hopeful of them to think this unknown devil would conveniently wake up an hour after she fainted from what appeared to be severe exhaustion and her internal injuries. Their realization arrived when their stomachs started to growl and the sun had started to set. At that point, they both agreed it was best to set up camp in his place. So they did. Raynare got back to her place, took her clothes, and bought a set of first aid kit including a bandage. The day might be over, but their night had just begun. Break, their pillow smells so boyish. It'd be weird if it smells girly. Well alright, that's true. With 2 extra futons laid out inside his bedroom, right next to his occupied bed, Raynare truly felt the crampedness of Issei's room and rethought if she truly regretted choosing her apartment. Presently lying down at her designated sleeping spot, Raynare idly watched Issei as he prepared their dinner in his small kitchenette. Can you cook something else other than instant noodles? She tried her best to not sound too disheartened, but she felt like she did a bad job at it. Of course. Her eyes lit up. Oh, I can fry nuggets. Issei replied as he stirred the boiling pot of flimsy wet noodles. Boil water, fry eggs. Poached eggs. Alright. I got it. It was yet another occurrence of having her hopes and dreams of an ideal man shattered, as Issei was not preparing anything fancier than 2 bowls of instant noodles. Raynare let her disappointment be heard through a groaning sigh. Are there boys who can cook? Anyone can cook. I know, I've watched Ratatouille. Every novel I read always has a male main interest who can cook. Like, why write a book that's completely misleading about adulthood? Because everyone has got their fantasies they want to live inside their head. And in fanfictions too. It's like they think their character instantly got 10 times cooler if he could cook. Fanfictions? Issei paused. You read fanfictions? Yeah. I got interested when you were making fun of it. So you dumpster dived. Well, you're not wrong, but there are some good ones. Like, legitimately good one. But for some reason most of those don't get updated as often. As someone who didn't read, Issei could only offer a shrug, and a dismissive dude probably found a lie for a real job. Using a pillow as a makeshift table for the steaming bowl, the slurping of the noodles soon commenced, and Raynare momentarily forgot that these were cheap food the moment the warmth of the broth embalmed her body. Ramen tastes double as good when it's raining. Don't spill. I won't. What am I, a child? I can eat without a table just fine. Said Raynare, as she then proceeded to spill some of the hot soup over her fingers and over Issei's blue now slightly wet pillow. Not a minute later. Her punishment was to wash the dishes. You know, there's something that's just right seeing a girl doing the dishes. Fully aware Issei was only messing about and obviously trying to tick her off like the asshole he was, her glare was like daggers nonetheless. I can throw this ceramic bowl at you right now and I won't feel the slightest tinge of guilt. Then you'll have 2 bodies to bury alone. Raynare ignored that little tidbit and reeled back towards the situation at hand, that there was still an unconscious devil they had to keep their eyes on for potentially the next few days. They spent an hour watching the Rat Chef movie on his laptop afterwards, spending a good portion of it grumbling at the chefs and then growling at the sight of animated dishes, causing the two to agree to order a pizza to quench their sudden desire for real food. Now inside a bedroom scented with crisp baked pizza crust, golden melted cheese, and the trademark scent of oregano found in many of this saucer-shaped university students' delicacy. I'm gonna get so fat if I'm living with you, I swear to God. Mumbled Raynare, savoring the taste of each bite. Who says you aren't? Hey. Their knife-like glare turned into one of surprise when they heard a faint groan, followed by the rustling of a bed. Raynare stood up for whatever reason. Issei still sat on the futon because he could see the devil easily anyway. Hey, you. You're finally awake. You were trying to cross the border, right? As his friend, she knew Issei would say something that only made sense inside his own head, such as pop culture references only he knew of. This was one of those moments. What? Nothing. Either way, Raynare muttered, returning her attention back to the devil. Her voice sounded lower, sterner and strict, as if she was trying to make herself look tougher. Although the red splotches of sauce on the edge of her lips kind of ruined it. Who are you and why are you here? I mean, didn't we carry her here? Wait, yes. We did carry her here. Raynare rolled her eyes. Would you just be quiet? The devil tried to lift herself to a sitting position, but failed and winced in pain. She resorted to looking towards the two, peering at them through one eye. She made an effort to push her words through her parched throat. Where am I? You're a prophesied hero brought onto this world by the Imperium of Man to cleanse. Raynare had to smack Issei in the back of his head this time. Earth. You opened a gate and brought yourself here before you lost your consciousness, remember? Rather, do you remember anything? Earth. She repeated, as if uncertain. Almost in disbelief. But it seemed she did, in fact, remember, as well as figured out that the girl speaking to her was aware of where she came from, meaning she was not a human being. The boy, on the other hand, was still able to determine. I see. Who are you? How were you able to get through a gate? Did you conjure it yourself or did someone open it for you? Raynare's prying question was met with silence, and the devil looked away from them, staring at the white ceiling emptily. Issei kept quiet and ate another slice. He figured he should actually shut up for once, since this might be more serious than he thought. He might as well enjoy his pizza and try to figure out whatever they were sputtering about. Like it or not, we're going to need answers. I'm going to need answers. Raynare pressed, a bit more spitefully this time. She didn't appreciate the silence. This isn't hell. Rules do exist here, and even if you don't intend to stay, obeying them really is the least you have to do. Not everyone follows it though. Issei couldn't hold himself. Dude, why'd you gotta ride her like that? She just woke up. What else do you want me to say? We don't know if she's hostile or not. Issei's expression remained flat and unconcerned. Don't know, man. Looks pretty bedridden to me. What is she gonna do? Stare you to death? For the umpteenth time, Raynare sighed, albeit realizing she might have allowed her personal feelings out a bit too much to view things objectively. You're right. My bad. She admitted quietly. Tell us your name, at least. Or a family name. Preferably not a made-up one. Still nothing. Her expression was too uncertain to be able to determine anything from it, but from Issei's perspective, the devil looked empty. Almost inhumane. Well, she was not human to begin with, so that might be a wrong choice of word, but individual didn't sound right either. Raynare pressed her lips. How did you get those wounds? Were you in a fight? But you wore a maid outfit, so I doubt you're in the front line, so I'm guessing the house you serve was under attack. Is that right? The devil remained silent without a subtle change of expression. She even closed her silver eyes again, this time to relit Raynare's dimming annoyance. This isn't going anywhere. She muttered bitterly, pouting. I'll go get some water. Good idea. Waterboarding will smoothen things up. Shut up, Ice. What a convenient excuse. Getting some water when in reality she was just tossing this problem over to him like a hot potato, except he was not allowed to toss it to someone else. Issei wasn't exactly sure what to say either, in all honesty. He was known to say stupid shit that was sometimes funny and rely on his friends to make new friends for him, since he wasn't that great at starting a conversation with a human, much less a creature of hell. Worse, a girl. First, because he had no idea what hell was other than it was a shithole based on Raynare's tales. Secondly, because he was neither a fallen angel or a devil or a supernatural for that matter. And thirdly, because he found it hard to take this seriously when he had a slice of pizza in his hand. So he decided to finish it first. You must be hungry, he said before taking a good bite, leaving only a pathetic piece of crust on his golden dusted hand. I'd be hungry. Probably. Would you like some? Same response, which was no response other than a brief glance. Well, suit yourself. I'll leave some still just in case you change your mind. Or in case he was hungry for a midnight snack. Some people might find the situation awkward or borderline uncomfortable, but not Issei, who proceeded to say anything that visited his mind as he devoured his third slice. Well anyway. I heard from her you guys got this bilingual thing going on for you people. She told me she heard things in English instead of Japanese, but I heard things in Japanese when she's talking to me. How does that work? No idea either, huh? Said Issei as he wiped the crumbs off his hands with a tissue. Oh. If you're wondering, you're in my place. Not exactly a palace, but it keeps the rain away. That's also my bed you're resting at. I charge by the hour, mind you. At that, the devil made a visible attempt to move her body, which nearly caused Issei to panic. Wait, I was just kidding. She rested again. I charge per day. She tried to get up again. No, I really was joking. It's not funny, I know. The maid, using a bit too much effort than she would like, stared at him with a questioning look. The first time her expression shifted from one of apathy. He felt sort of like being judged here. Not all humans are like me, I swear. I'm just weird. I see. Well, he got her to respond, even if she sounded a little bit uncertain. She sounded as if she was scrutinizing him to determine the peculiarities of all humankind. Whatever it was another score for him in his imaginary leaderboard against Raynare. Scratching his cleanly shaven chin, he tried letting his stubbles grow, but regrettably, a beard did not suit him at all, as it made him look like he didn't shower for a week and looked homeless. Issei opted to press his advantage. If there was ever any advantage. I heard stuff from her. He motioned towards the now closed door. Heard it was bad over there. Like, royally bad. Wars and wars. She was part of it too for a bit. Probably why she was all uppity and gung-ho like that. He received silence as a response, and the devil rested her eyes again. Welp. You blew it. Was his relatively carefree thought until she spoke to him a rasped sentence. Where are my clothes? Where? Oh, your maid outfit was in shambles. I'm not a professional tailor, but I don't think it's salvageable. Raynare took them off, obviously. Tore it completely, rather, with scissors and precision, since she didn't want to risk accidentally grazing the cloth against her wounds. I see. Issei had an inkling he might have to hear I see a bit more than a little bit more. Then Raynare re-entered the room with a clear glass of water. Took you long enough. Did you get lost? I had to make a call. Had to keep in touch with those supervisors about her. She replied as she set the water at Issei's bedside table, which hardly counted as a table, since it was just a cheap plastic chair without a backrest. Apparently, you're not the only one that got out of there today. There's more. It happens regularly, like once in a month. There'd be 1 or 2 devils or Folens that got lucky, but to have more than one in the same day is rare enough, let alone multitudes of it. Those dulled silver eyes finally shed some light. Who else? Raynare shook her head. I don't know. All I know is there's been an influx of similar reports not long after you got here. How much exactly I've no idea. Maybe you can help us understand just what exactly happened in that damned place. Both Issei and Raynare stared at her expectantly, waiting, hoping, and let down by their own expectations, as the devil didn't seem to be in a talkative mood. No one blamed her, really. What about a name, for a start? Getting to sleep on my bed in exchange for that. Raynare looked more appalled than the devil did. You can't just ask that. That's practically holding her at ransom. This time, Issei ignored Raynare. The devil seemed to possess a degree of responsibility. She did try to get herself up when he was joking about setting a rent for her. Call him vile, but according to tradition, he was the least evil species compared to the 2 others in this room. Traditions aren't always right, of course. You can't get a better bargain than this. An amateur medical treatment with questionable qualities, a glass of water, a warm cozy bed that doesn't smell that bad, and the companionship of an exceptional man and me. You're unreal. Who are you calling a man, you twit? Raphia. The devil crooned weakly. Issei didn't expect his blackmail to work, in all honesty, nor did Raynare as she exchanged a glance of unspoken surprise with him. Raphia, how yeah, that sounds devil. Why, well. Have you heard of her? Can't say I do, no. Raynare shrugged her shoulders. What's your house name? Are you part of the pillars or served any of them? It doesn't matter. It might if you're from a certain house. Raynare replied with a tinge of venom in her words. I don't mean to threaten you, but the witch Issei called bullshit. Sounds like a threat to me. Hell, I felt threatened. Alright, fine. I did threaten her. She sighed as she massaged her temples. Ugh, what am I doing? You might just be a house servant for all I know. Look, I just want to help whether you believe me or not. I was a refugee just a year ago. Still am, but I do understand how it is. Tomorrow, Raphia croaked. I'll explain tomorrow. Fair. Issei said without waiting for Raynare's decision. Can she drink water now, please? Sure she can. It's right next to her. I don't think she can move much. Like you'd know that. Look at her. Issei gestured at the bedridden devil. Mayu, a crippled ant, can run faster than her. You're a horrible person. And stop calling me that. Yes I am, and no I will not. Now lend her a hand. Why's it gotta be me? What's wrong with yours? Issei comically inches away from Raphia, leaving the devil confused. I'll get the cooties. Was his reason, although he simply didn't want to smear the devil with pizza crusts. Ugh, grow up, you're such a virgin. Hey, screw you. Issei retorted. It's my prized possession. Yeah. One that nobody wants. Shit, that was a good one. Although grinning, Raynare shook her head as she picked up a glass of water, sitting on the cheap bedside table to help the devil sit up properly. Here. If you think you might have trouble sleeping, I bought some benzodiazepines. Could make you tea too if you want. The quiet but thankful huff escaped her now no longer dry lips. Thanks, this is enough. You sure? You don't exactly have to be reserved, you know. You're no longer a house helper or a maid. As it seems. And Grafey arrested her grey eyes. Raynare exchanged a brief glance with Issei. The devil sounded and looked a bit melancholic for their liking. Which led the two into thinking Raynare had said something to upset her. The fallen angel coughed awkwardly. I mean, and not in here anyway, so before she dug deeper into her own grave, or worse, allowed Issei to dig it up too, she escaped the conversation. If you need anything else, just speak, I guess. We'll be sleeping next to you. I'm down for that. Quiet, you freak. And after kicking a pillow right into Issei's dumb wise guy face, Raynare's night proceeded as peacefully as she would have expected. Break. Surprisingly, everything went by peacefully despite having set her standards as low as possible when she agreed to spend the night at his place. The room was cool, and coupled with the mind-calming effect of the soft pouring rain, Raynare had no trouble sleeping. Issei, on the other hand, had rather distressing trouble. And that Raynare's hand kept grabbing his chest. He felt violated, filthy, used, and dirty. But worse of it all, sleepless. Raynare was cute, but her sleeping posture resembled a cretin from a Japanese horror movie, combined with the result of an unfortunate yoga accident. Girls are sexy when they sleep, they said, exposed belly and cleavage, they said. They never mentioned anything about getting his face mushed by hands. Another reminder that real life wasn't always as sweet as a rom-com manga. She had not only abandoned her Kitatsu, she had invaded his and drove him out of it, as though she was reenacting the famous German maneuver towards Poland in World War II. Issei did daydream and wondered how it'd feel to be sleeping next to a girl, but this bitter reality was like a kick to the crotch. If he had a rope, he would have tied her hands and feet. Better her than him. Or whatever remained of his dignity. But alas, he hoisted the white flag and surrendered his place peacefully. Tomorrow was Saturday, after all, and he supposed it was a bit early for him to sleep anyway. Yes, it might be 1 in the morning, but Issei rarely ever slept before 3 in the morning, unless he had morning classes. Not because sleeping late at night is cool, he was no longer 9, and not because he was haunted by embarrassing memories of his past, although those do visit from time to time like an unwanted family relative you prefer to not meet, but because he would spend his early morning watching stupid videos in the internet or the unexpectedly mesmerizing stuff such as what if Earth is actually flat that made him descend further into the rabbit hole. Or he was wanking. But as neither option was viable at the moment, he resorted to simply taking a walk outside. He wasn't sleepy, thanks to Raynare, and he felt that a breeze of the spring rain might make him drowsy enough so that he could sleep while being physically abused by the fallen angel. If all else fails, he might consider using the bandages to tie her limbs. And so, the brave young man in his red t-shirt and white shorts ventured into the unforgiving outside world. The cold touch of the breeze swept his skin, but Issei shivered not, for he was quite fond of cold weather. It was a common belief in Japanese manga that idiots never catch cold, and that superstition might be true for this particular boy. He leaned against the steel railing, the roof of the apartment building sheltering him from the cold water, and he gazed as far as his eyes could see. Turns out, it was hard to see a damn thing when everything was covered in fog. It was hard enough to pinpoint the glow of the streetlight which was located not far from him, let alone anything beyond it. Despite everything, it was rather calming. He always liked rain, unless he was caught in it or needed to be somewhere. In which case, Mother Nature can go fuck herself. But all in all, Issei was fond of rainy or snowy weather. They had that tranquil feeling to them that a clear weather lacked. As he no longer paid attention to what he was seeing, he thought about the devil and began to miss his bed right after. Then he wondered how it'd feel to be either of those two, a refugee of a certainly messed up war that not even Raynare knew when or how it started. It didn't really matter if compared to how it would end, he imagined. Or if it would end. There were times where he thought humans were boring, or his place was boring and had little to no excitement, but he had learned to be grateful to be living in the boring part of the world. What with all of the wars and crimes he for certain would never be able to change. Call him ignorant, but living a normal life didn't sound that bad. But when a loud clanging came from inside his room, that certainly sounded bad. Itching his think spot, Issei rushed back in. The lights were out as he had left it. The door leading to his room was closed shut as he had left it. His tiny kitchenette had a shadowy figure crouched on the floor, which was not something he had left. He had a mini heart attack, but flicked the light straight away. He saw the said figure clutching her bandaged waist, surrounded by a frying pan, the scattered remains of a ceramic glass, and some plastic plates. Raynare had torn the top of her maid dress, which effectively turned it into a very long blue skirt, and had left her topless apart from the bandages wrapped around her torso. "Holy hell, dude," was his reflex response as he knelt down and carefully swept the shards to the side. "Are you alright?" It seemed to him she took all the strength in her just to lift her head. There was guilt, but she seemed in pain more than anything. I'm sorry, wait, don't move yet. One thing at a time, fuck me, is that blood? Yep, that's blood. Freaking out just a little bit after noticing the growing red blot of her bandages, Issei stood up and grabbed his tiny dustpan and equally tiny brush. Wincing lightly, Grafia feebly watched as he briskly swept the fragmented pieces of his cheap white mug and promptly tossed them into the trash bin afterwards. He then placed the dustbin on the only kitchen counter, along with the frying pan and the plastic plates, before returning his attention to her again. Right, so I don't think you should step over here still, so let's go that way, thank you very much, can you stand? Though unsure, Grafia nodded silently. Issei stepped carefully towards her, just in case, and helped her up by letting her use his shoulder and hand to prop herself up. There was a pained grunt that he didn't exactly like to hear, and he didn't like how her hands trembled, a clear giveaway of her non-existent strength. It didn't take long for her to slump into his chest completely, unable to support herself as long as she wanted. She hissed as her stomach pressed onto him, causing him to quickly, although gently, push her away from him, while still supporting her with his arms on her shoulders. Geez, hell were you thinking? You could wake her up if you needed anything, you know. Issei muttered casually so that she wouldn't think she was being chastised for whatever reason. Unless you did try and she's just too much of a pig. There was a subtle silence before she responded. I'm sorry. What great help you are, Raynare. He mumbled, sending his curse through the door before him. Dang, what do we do? He glanced down to see her bandaged stomach, though her bandaged chest instead blocked his view and made him seem like he was a pervert taking advantage of the situation. Her impressive boobage really didn't cross his mind until right this very moment. Right, you should sit down first. Issei decided once to snap away and remind himself he got a wounded person over here. With one hand, he elbowed the frying pan to make space for her and then awkwardly and with utmost care turned around to let her rest against the counter. Her hand never left her stomach, and as Issei took note of her beads of sweat rolling down her cheeks, gluing her silver gray hair, he began to feel a certain panic he never felt before. Ah shit, don't you pass out on me, sister. I wasn't taught how to handle this kind of thing in school. Let me get you back to bed first and see what the hell we can do after. Right. Yeah. He rambled, somewhat calming his nerves down by rambling nonsense. He flicked open the door leading to the dark bedroom, where Raynare peacefully slept violently. Fucking help you are. The fallen angel crumpled her face when Issei turned on the light, but kept on dreaming away. As she breathed, apologize for causing trouble. It's fine, it's fine. Don't think about it. Just Issei thought for a moment as he stared at her stomach, evidently bleeding again. Shit, how the hell am I going to carry you? I can try to walk. Yeah, right. He dismissed that suggestion right away. She couldn't even speak a complete sentence without wheezing for breath. Piggyback. Is it okay? It might hurt your stomach though. It should be fine if only for a short while, she reassured him. Didn't sound so reassuring though. I'm sorry, don't worry about it. He cut her off as he offered his back. You know, I think it's better to say thank you than saying sorry repeatedly. Gives off a better vibe, you know. She stared at his shaggy brown hair, not knowing that this boy had long since abandoned those two tufts of hair that stuck out like he was some sort of an anime character, needing a unique hair to differ him from other generic male characters, and had chosen to look like an even more generic university student instead after getting a haircut. I see, Grafia whisper, unaware of her small smile that was quick to die once she felt the pang of pain from her abdomen, reminding her of her predicament as well as all of those she had lost. Thank you. Reeling the front of her skirt so it wouldn't awkwardly get stuck between them, Grafia slowly leaned forward, groaning as she settled on his back and rested for a little while as he lifted her thighs after muttering a brief "pardon me" underneath his breath. The walk was short-lived. Issei let her settle down by herself as he bent his knees by his bed, glaring at Raynare and fighting his urge to poke her side with his toes. The only reason he didn't wake her up was because he felt a little bit useless in the afternoon, since all he did was watch her treat the devil and refill the bucket of water, essentially being just there for her emotional support while she did all the real work. Okay, so if you know anything I should do first, then let me know. He said. The worst thing he could do next to doing nothing right now was to pretend he knew what he was doing. I'm very reliable, I know, I'm just that great. But I'm also your best bet at the moment. Grafia studied him through her hazy gray eyes and nodded. Water, some water, please, and the bandages, they're too tight and the dressing needs changing. Watertight dress. Alright. As Issei headed to the kitchen, he could tell tonight would be a peculiarly long night. Thanks for watching this video. Part 2 is over. If you really enjoy this video, like, subscribe, and comment down below, and turn on that bell notification. And also check out the playlist that I have created and enjoy. Link is in the description. See you in the next video. Goodbye.